Hi everyone, welcome to Be Yourself Studios. My name is Sandra Patricia, and today I will be taking you through my process of creating my bullet journal for 2022 from scratch. So for the past few years that I've been doing bullet journaling, I've made my own journals most of the time. I've made, I believe, more than 50 journals at this point, not only for bullet journaling but for my friends and family. So yeah, you will be able to see in this video how much I struggled with the thread for some reason. I've never struggled this much, not even the first time that I did my bullet journal. I've never struggled so much with thread and needle, but you live and you learn. I figured out some tricks to be able to get going throughout the whole process, so yeah. Also wanted to mention real quick that I learned how to do this type of stitching, which is called kettle stitch, by watching some tutorials from Sea Lemon. I'll make sure to link those in the cards above and in the description down below. So yeah, those tutorials are great if you're starting out. I definitely recommend you check them out. She teaches you how to make a text block, which is the thing you do with the kettle stitching, and do a moleskin style notebook. As you see right here, this is not a moleskin type design for my notebook. It's more like a book, but I really like it this way. It's really sturdy. So I changed a few things from the tutorial, skipped a few steps because I'm quite lazy and I didn't need it to be that professional. But if you want a really professional tutorial, I definitely recommend you check those out. The supplies you will be needing are 8.5 by 11 paper, cardstock, thread and needle, a ruler, a pencil, an owl, not as in the animal, like as in the tool owl, AWL, a cutting mat or a substitute for a cutting mat, cardboard, fabric, and some ribbons, which are optional only if you want to add some bookmarks to your journal. Some stats of the journal that I'll be specifically be making, only if you want to have one like mine, but again, these are details because as long as you know how to do the kettle stitching, you can customize it however you want your own journal. You don't need to have this same amount of pages. I just wanted a lot of pages in my bullet journal since I use quite a lot throughout the year. I made 18 signatures, and to make the 18 signatures I used 76 sheets of 8.5 by 11 paper, which make, when you count the pages, not the sheets, 304 pages, because that's what I needed for this year, which is why I make my own journals, because it's very difficult to find a journal that fits my needs. If you know of any 4mm graph journal that has about 300 pages and it doesn't have quite thin of a paper, let me know, because I've definitely been on the hunt for new ones. But yeah, my pages are blank, but I use this little template and put them behind the pages to be able to have the 4mm graph paper, because I find that it's more convenient than printing all of those graph papers, and it also gives me more liberty. So yeah, let's get right into this DIY. The first thing I did was count the 74 sheets of paper. As you can see here, I'm counting like nobody's business, and started folding the 76 sheets of paper. I recommend that when you're going through this whole process, you put on a movie, watch some YouTube videos, clear out your watch later playlist on YouTube, listen to a musical or something, because this is a time consuming process. So yeah. So you definitely need something else to keep your mind occupied while you do these tasks. After that, I started separating the signatures. Each one has 4 sheets of paper. So yeah, I just put them together and print them up, leaving to 18 signatures. Then you will take a ruler and a pencil, and here I'm taking some binder clips for the future step, and mark with a dot the middle of the page, and then an inch from there on each side. Keep going until you're done with the page. Now you could mark all of the pages and individually, but since, as you can see, I have too many pages, I wasn't about to mark 76 sheets of paper. So I put that one again with the signatures and struggled with my life to put a binder clip on that text block, which would figure to be a problem in the future, but we're not here to talk about that, and use that as a guide to mark the other pages with a ruler. And for some reason, the stationery added in the house, which is me, didn't have a bigger binder clip, which I'm quite ashamed of. So here you see that I'm taking a smaller section to be able to work with it. You don't need to use the ruler to mark it up. I just wanted to make sure my lines were straight, so that's why I used the ruler, but you can do it by the ruler of the eye. After marking all your signatures, you put them on your cutting mat and punch them or perforate them with the awl. Again, this is a quite time consuming process, so I recommend you get some water while you're going through the whole book binding process. This is where the struggle begins with the thread and needle. As you can see, I haven't started bookbinding just yet and I'm already struggling with the thread because I was too ambitious with it and wanted to get a big chunk of it right away, and that's gonna bring me trouble later on. Like we say here in Puerto Rico, el vago pasa doble trabajo. The first thing you need to do is go through the signature from the outside in, and then on the next hole keep going and going like in a zigzag motion when it comes to your thread, and do that for the first signature fully to the end, and then get back once again, return to the first point, doing the same zigzag motion with your thread. Again, this you will only have to do with your first signature, since for the next ones you'll have to do different steps. Before you finish going through the end of your first signature, do a little knot on the inside. I do too, just to make sure. And then put the needle through that hole and bring that knot out. Then you bring out your second signature and do almost the same thing. You're about to do something like the zigzag motion, but instead of putting it back and forth like in the first signature, you're gonna go through the little threads that are in the first one, first on one side and then on the other. And bring the needle back through that hole and do that same process for the next holes in that signature, and you're about to do something like that for the next going signatures, and then it's the process on and on and on and on until you're done with all your signatures. If you already know how to kettle stitch and you just wanted a companion, I think this is the video for you, since as you can see it's quite long, so I can just accompany you while you're sewing your journal too. Once again, now coming from the other side, you put it not in the thread that's in the first signature. You put it between the first signature and the second one, so that it holds onto that thread that's holding the first two together, and put that back again on the third signature. And then you're about to do that for as many signatures as you have. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say signatures in this video. Now when the thread is really short, you're gonna do the same thing you did at the end of the first signature, which is do a little knot and bring it out. And then with your next thread and needle, you go again from the outside and continue with the same stitching process. I'm sorry for the shots that are out of frame. Now, when you're done with the book binding, you do the same thing again as in the first signature. Do the little knots on the inside and then bring them out with the thread and needle, and that's it for the text block. Now, after sewing with the kettle stitching pattern, you're gonna, if you have a book press, it will be very convenient to have one or some books you can put on top of your text block, and then put tacky glue on the spine to finish it off. Then you're gonna take two pieces of cardboard, each one about 8.5 by 5.5 inches, so that you can have the cover and the back cover for the notebook. Put tacky glue over the cardboard and then put it on the fabric. After that, you're gonna measure the spine of your text block and cut a little piece of cardstock. This will allow your notebook to be opened 180 degrees whenever you want to. You're gonna see how at the end. Use the ruler to guide you through the separation between the cardstock and the cardboard. I put about 1/8 of an inch between the cardboard and the cardstock. Again, pour the tacky glue all over it and glue it down, and do the same thing for the second one. After that, you're just gonna cut off the excess fabric. And using the tacky glue once again and some binder clips to keep it all together, you're just gonna glue each side of the cover, leaving out the corners because those we will be doing at the end. Cut a little bit of the excess on the corners and pour a bunch of glue over it, and then fold the fabric and keep it all together with a binder clip. Then you're gonna take your text block and two pieces of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, fold in half and glue it to the text block on each side, since this will be the bridge between the cover and the text block. Put it on each side with the tacky glue, and then we're gonna glue that down on the cover. Make sure to leave out the spine, don't glue it down the spine, because leaving it out is what's gonna allow you to open the pages 180 degrees. And that's the notebook done. As you can see, it looks very much handmade, which I love. It just gives it personality, I guess. Now we're gonna do a 2022 bullet journal flip through. The first page is blank. I'll just be putting my name and a return number. On the left page of this spread we have my 2 words of the year, and on the right I have my year at a glance. And yes, I messed up February. Then we have my future log, and the future log is divided in 3 sections, one for personal, creative, and school related dates and holidays. Then we have the monthly overview spreads. At the end of each month, I'll just reach for the spreads and write down the highlights of each month. The next spread is my goal spread. I divided it in 7 sections: environmental, occupational, intellectual, and I mixed an L, financial, emotional, physical, and spiritual, and added a little quote for inspiration. Then we have what I call the entertainment log. On the left, we have the upcoming movies for 2022, and on the right, the books read throughout the whole year. This is a monthly goals breakdown. This is just for me to fill at the beginning of the year with what I think will be the goals for the months. Basically a breakdown of the big goals that I set up in the previously goals page. My January overview, the big column On the left is for the monthly goals, then we have weekly goals and daily goals. Here we have the habits and tasks, logs and trackers. The first habit tracker is personal, the second log is for creative tasks, and the third one is for school related tasks. Here is my content creation spread. On the left, I'll be doing a brainstorm, and on the right is a content creation checklist for the main pieces of content I'll be creating throughout the month. I'm just erasing the pencil marks that I left. So I hope you liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the bell on notifications so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Let me know in the comments down below if you'll be creating a bullet journal or if you'll be sewing your journal for yourself for the first time. Just so you know, once you go into the building your own journals life, you never go back. Don't forget to be yourself, be happy, be human. Sending you lots of love.